Starting to the bottom right of the map, we have in purple once more the player for LGIM. It is
LGIM YoDa.
There we have him. Winning game 1, losing on the second map. Now we have one more map to go, and the winner goes to Kodes. Starting to the top left, the Prime player. It is
MarineKing Prime.
Just getting relaxed in the booth, psyching himself up for this game. His opponent is going at gas first. In the purple. Oh, you already did his intro, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think my camera was set wrong on my computer. But anyways.
Well, you know, we have YoDa in every single game going for an early gas. Not necessarily gas first, but every single time he wanted to go for his tech. MarineKing so far did not start a refinery. We have him with the barracks placement in the beginning of this game, and he's most likely going to start a command center again as the second building.
Yeah.
But what I really like about MarineKing in this series is something that we have been missing in the past quite a bit. It's not only true for this game, it's also true for the games before. He's scouting a lot more than he used to.
Yeah, he really is. Has to get information about what his opponent is doing. And when he gets into the main base here, he will see the gas first. And this will let him know he needs to go double gas right after his command center so that he can get Vikings out to not only defend against potential Banshees, but to help shut down the drop play that YoDa may put out for him. And if MarineKing is lucky, he'll see the factory start. If he sticks around long enough, he may be able to see it. He doesn't want to, though. He leaves. He's seen all he needs to. Yeah. And actually, he will see the factory. He doesn't leave.
Sees the factory. The Marine is gonna pop out quite soon, so if he wants to save the SCV, he really has to back off now. And he knows the perfect timing here, of course. He moves back, has known that there's gas first, and therefore the timing for the Marine changes a little bit. MarineKing going straight into double gas.
Yeah,
and this
as predicted.
This definitely allows him to get the factory out very soon, get a Viking.
Yeah, this map is pretty large, so depending on what YoDa does, he should be able to defend. It's going to come down to micro, and that is a tech lab for YoDa on the barracks. So he could start his starport right in the place of it and go into Banshees, the fastest possible Banshees, and that is what we see from him. He has taken a second gas after MarineKing has left, so he will go into Cloak. And this is what you would expect to see with a gas first build. MarineKing is in dire need of that tech, and he'll start his factory now.
Yeah, the factory just been started for him. His command center isn't even finished just yet. That's something that he's gonna finish in just a few seconds, then go for the orbital. And once again, we have the situation with MarineKing having the better economy. This is the one thing that YoDa has to negate. He has to do the damage, take down a few harvesters. His own command center, his own expansion is gonna be so much later than his opponent's. And with the tech advantage, he has to make up for that. Always this battle back and forth. The advantage for MarineKing, of course, is starting to kick in as soon as the orbital command center is done. Then we have the extra mule, then we have the double SCV production, and at this point, YoDa will already have his starport.
YoDa starts now his first Banshee. He goes Cloak first. On a map like this, you know, some people would go Banshee first, but Cloak first is usually what you want. So the Cloak finishes as the Banshee arrives. The rush distance on this map is so far that it gives MarineKing a lot of time to prepare. YoDa sees very critically here. He sees the timing of the starport is really late. He made a reactor for his factory, but the starport is pretty late here. This means he may be able to do more than he initially thought.
And isn't that annoying for MarineKing? He had Marines there the entire time at the ramp guarding it, making sure that there was nothing that could get into the main base, but suddenly with this little bit of delayed timing for his scout, YoDa gets in with the SCV and knows what's going on now. MarineKing, of course, will try to get the missile turrets up once again, but with the Banshees, YoDa could really do a lot of damage. We saw him use great micro in game number 2.
Yeah, even that little situation with the supply depot just shows how good his micro is in these types of situations with.
Oh, this time we have the Viking out very early.
Viking, he starts immediately and the turret is ready.
Exactly, the double turret here, so that will help him a lot.
The second turret at the natural is a little bit delayed, though. The Banshee, if it goes straight for it, will be able to stop the turret from finishing.
Barely, just in time, takes down both SCVs. Oh wow, look at that. 10 hit points, and he tries to take it out. There has to be a scam.
He actually rallies the SCV to the turret.
The Banshee takes a few hits here, but still getting away.
Now can fight the Marines. Nice scan.
Really
takes him out.
Well done. That was a great scam.
Really well done by MarineKing.
He has to drop a scan anyways to take it down. There's no way that YoDa will just send his Banshees into the turret range. That was really well executed by MarineKing. He sees an opportunity and he takes it. Well executed. While now YoDa is going into additional command centers. He's double expanding now.
Yeah, he needs to, because MarineKing's economy is so much better than his at this point. He needs to get a lead like that. With 2 Vikings here, he can actually scan and kill the Banshee, especially with his position right now.
He doesn't have the energy, I think.
He does.
There it is. Just now having enough energy to drop the scan. And the Banshee actually gets away.
Yep. If he had got it while it was moving towards the scan location and forced him to turn around, he would have been able to kill it, but he waited until the Banshee was already on its way out. You have this scan ahead of where the Banshee's way out.
This is the time where MarineKing's economy is going to kick in. Going for the double SCV production. That's what he's doing right now. He has more mules, he's using them. But MarineKing actually not really producing from both of his command centers the entire time.
Yeah, he also lost a few harvesters. In total, YoDa killed 3. It makes a slight difference there, but he cuts some SCVs for sure. Oh, look at this. He catches the Banshee. He doesn't want to waste a scan. He's just going to follow it. He attempts to, so when it runs out of energy, he dies, but unfortunately not able to quite keep up with it.
What's of course also important when you go for the Banshee opening, you want to kill SCVs, you want to negate the early advantage that your opponent that started with the earlier command center has. But you also try to make up for the extra energy for the mules, and if you can bait out scans, this is basically every single time 1 mule less for your opponent. And talking a little bit about the strategies here, MarineKing is going for the double armory now and also adds more factories, so he's going into a mech composition.
Yeah, and this is something that YoDa so far does not know. He doesn't have any information about this because ever since his Banshees were chased away, he wasn't able to get into the main and see these armories or see these factories. He hasn't scanned yet. He has no information about what MarineKing's next move is. The only thing he knows is that he hasn't seen very many Marines at all, and he's seen Hellions. So he can take a guess. If he's thinking, if someone asked him, do you think he's going mech or bio, he'd say, I think it seems like mech, but I can't be sure. And so right now, he's just powering up in his main base. He's got a fast 3rd command center, which he needs to land as soon as possible.
Wherever now with the double upgrades from those armories, 1-1, siege mode, siege tanks, additional Vikings, you always want to have the air dominance when you go for this strategy. You want to have the better Viking count, which is definitely true for MarineKing now. Your upgrades are always going to be a little bit later. That's usually the case, but in the case of MarineKing, we have his mech upgrades faster than the bio upgrades of YoDa.
Yeah, the Banshees moving across, or rather the Vikings moving across the map, trying to find those Banshees. He just is trying to see what YoDa's up to. He flies back. The Vikings have such multiple purposes, like you said, having air dominance, but also scout, and you can use them for drops later on. And eventually, if your opponent tries to air switch on you, if you have a good Viking count to begin with, it's going to be so much harder for your opponent to do that.
Blue Flame is being researched. MarineKing is continuously adding additional production facilities to his base. Another factory. Dealing with the Banshee is a different topic though. Sending those SCVs over already resulted in a lot of harvesters being killed. Here come those Vikings, and with all the units that YoDa sees now, he knows exactly what's going on. He tries to take down another SCV before the Banshee dies. The scan of course revealed the cloak unit, and with all those Vikings around, there was no chance. Oh!
That was close.
That was really close.
I was actually scared we were going to have a situation where they both landed and some sort of bug would occur. It was really close.
The thing is, even if he lands it, it doesn't really matter. There are 3 tanks and a lot of Marauders. That delays it for maybe 3 seconds, and that's all there's to it.
I think that's why he didn't land it, because if he loses that factory, or rather loses that barracks, then he can't make any more factories without making a new barracks. So for him, it's actually quite important to keep that alive a little bit longer.
Yeah. There was just too much army. If the entire army of YoDa would have been at the other end of the map, then of course it makes sense to land the barracks, but in this situation he would have lost it immediately. There was just way too much for YoDa.
Yeah. By the way, 2-2 not quite started for MarineKing just yet. He doesn't have the resources yet. He's getting his 5th and 6th gas. He's getting his saturation up on the minerals at that base, but until it is completely saturated, he's just trying to get as many units out as he can. Now he starts it. And this is an important upgrade lead to have over YoDa right now, who, I'm going to check his eBays, yeah, he doesn't have an armory done just yet. It's on the production tab right now, so 2-2 starting before 2-2 can even be started for YoDa is going to make MarineKing feel comfortable as soon as he figures this out.
Exactly, that's the lead that we mentioned earlier. He is just so fast with these upgrades. He really wants to make sure that he has great upgrades for his army. Here comes YoDa though. He's about to hit a timing before MarineKing is too strong here. He has a lot more army supply, and remember, mech is a very slow and very stale composition. This is the fact that YoDa is trying to exploit. He's sieging up on the high ground, or the low ground, and is trying to drop into his opponent's base. At least damage a few of the buildings on the high ground, and that's exactly what he's doing now. Good position.
Messing with the reactors. He will get this reactor to slow down some of the Hellion production. He stops the starport, kills the starport's reactor. A scan goes off here for MarineKing. He's trying to figure out exactly how many Marauders are helping this push out, so he can figure out if he can crush it, and he realizes, you know what, I can't do this just yet.
Yeah.
I can't quite fight this.
He doesn't want to move in here. Another scan, and now the reactor is gone. Here comes MarineKing, though. Trying to move in, trying to get into position, trying to put pressure, especially on the medivacs here. As soon as he kills those, there won't even be drop play possible anymore for YoDa.
Yeah.
But there's another force at the right side of the map, aiming for the third base.
Yeah, he's going for the third. This is something MarineKing realizes. He sends some tanks over there. This seems a little bit predictable, so he sieges up. Meanwhile, there's a little bit of a drop in the main. Nice pickup by YoDa. He's got to be careful of the Vikings, though.
The Vikings are moving in, and the medivac is down.
This is what I was talking about before with the, multi-purpose Vikings. You can use them for so much.
You have the range for the siege tanks, you pressure your opponent's medivacs, and he's relying on medivacs because he has bio, he wants to stim. He wants to hit that T button. And every time he does, the hit points go down without the medivacs. You will never be able to make up for that. So Vikings is really important here.
Yeah, it's very important to have this air control, which now he can use to kill these siege tanks. YoDa, I mean, even if he scans, he's not going to take good engagement there.
He doesn't have the high ground vision. The medivac was already out of range. And from this safety of the high ground, MarineKing goes in. But now we have this attempt at the third, immediately being denied by MarineKing, who has the siege tanks and siege.
YoDa is really struggling to use his supply advantages in these games. He's been up in supply, he's had a bigger army most of the time in these games where MarineKing's positioning is usually just too much for him. He can't find the right angle. And MarineKing punishes him again and again with a smaller army count, with a better composition and a better positioning. MarineKing keeps his army together, YoDa keeps it fragmented. And which is usually what you want as the bio player. You want to try to find these little cracks where you can send your units in and do real damage, but MarineKing has no weak points for him to exploit. He's got double sensor turrets.
Exactly. The sensor towers are there to make sure that there are no run-bys, no drops. A fourth base now for YoDa. He's trying to exploit the fact that he's controlling the map. He is the one who is active on the map, but MarineKing is trying to force this position in the middle. But here comes the Terran player in purple, moving in again with a stim at the side, taking off those siege tanks.
There's not a lot left. The Vikings in the air are not too useful here. The Marauders try to close in. It's just those upgrades that really give YoDa quite the problem. He's got 2-2, but the siege tanks do as well. Vikings land here, and YoDa drops in supply. He almost broke through that.
The Vikings in the air, like they really don't care, but then they are on the ground in assault mode, trying to participate, and they turn things around for MarineKing.
I thought you were going to say on the ground, and they're going to pound or something like that. I thought you were going to take it a little bit further.
No, I didn't want to take it that far.
Well, that's fine. YoDa now is... He lost his real dominant army on the map, and MarineKing is going to exploit this and start moving forward. His Hellion count is at 10. That's enough to do a little bit of run-by action while he has map control. Problem is the base on the left side of the map is a planetary.
This is actually the first time that we had MarineKing with a supply lead in this game.
Yes.
And resources lost, if you look at that, YoDa lost a lot more. He lost 11,000 resources against 8,000. He's also the one who goes into the faster +3/+3 upgrade, so he will take the upgrade lead here, but MarineKing has now such a strong presence on the map with 5 bases.
Yes, 5 bases. He has a lot of Hellions, and he ignores the planetary that I was talking about earlier and just goes for the SCVs here. He's killing quite a few.
Yeah, he's like, well, you can have a planetary all day long, I don't care, I will do my damage before your planetary takes down my Hellions.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he does. He frees up supply to make more siege tanks. MarineKing's base is denied by some Marines here. I feel like YoDa is losing a lot of medevacs to these Vikings, as well as medevac count is down to 2. You always want to have as many medevacs as you can with this composition to make sure that your Marauders stay alive, and once you stim several times trying to get a better position, you can heal them. But as it is, YoDa has lost so many because of that Viking count. There's not much he can do about it.
You could really just see a Legend trying to hover over the minimap and deciding on where to jump next because there's so much going on. And the left is Command Center that was forced to live. trying to retreat and successful. In the middle, both players trying to go for an engagement, but they need to find opportunity. It's suddenly YoDa who gets ahead, and he's moving in. He's got siege. The reinforcements are being picked up by YoDa. He finds an opening and he takes it, moving into the natural of MarineKing.
Yeah, if he camps MarineKing's production, this is not going to be good. MarineKing is losing this fight as well. His tanks are on siege. He actually could run in here and do some damage. He needs to land those Vikings potentially on top of the siege tanks, but YoDa crushes MarineKing's force here, and now he's got the natural destroyed as well.
He's crushing everything. The natural is already gone. The SCVs are currently dying. The siege tanks just barely holding the rapid to the main base, but the entire force of MarineKing is gone. YoDa is doing exactly what he needs to do. He's setting up so many different angles of attack that MarineKing can't deal with it.
He is targeting down these SCVs, most of them not escaping here. All of his Marauders in the red, very low on hit points, but he's taken out the depots of MarineKing as well, which is going to be something that he eventually has to remake. Mule is dropped here.
YoDa found the answer to the question where to hit MarineKing, and he hit him where it hurt. He took down the natural, he took down the third, and now he's just in the best position ever. 70 supply ahead. It can only take about 20 minutes until we see a GG.
We'll see. We will see. The hit points of YoDa very, very low on those Marauders, so he wants to get them to some medevacs right away if he can. The Mule that YoDa dropped earlier did scout the base to the right side of the map, and he's not going to be happy to see that. But immediately upon seeing it, he moves out a force to go and crush it. He's going to be able to kill this command center to the right side either if he sees it.
Jokes aside, MarineKing here with 120 supply is doing his best to lure YoDa into a sieged up position, but now it's really difficult. He's in the middle of the map with two forces surrounding him, and he have a good angle at the bases to the right.
Yeah.
Both bases are in a position where YoDa could go for the attack. MarineKing's SCV count is very, very low, but this also makes up for an army supply that is still in favor of YoDa. I mean, it's still significant, but it's not as significant as you would judge if you look at the overall supply with an 80 supply lead.
Exactly. And MarineKing has a composition that, if is sieged correctly, will take fights. And if he can fight his army against part of YoDa's army, which has been a consistent problem for him in this series, then he is going to level that playing field just a little bit more.
MarineKing, by moving upwards by moving north to take this army, he suddenly exposed the spaces to the right, and this is the trade that YoDa is happy to take. He's trying to take down this planetary, and he is able to pull it off. The SCV repairs are not enough.
Can he save his army, though? They're all low on hit points. MarineKing walks into siege tanks, and his tanks are on siege. Even though YoDa loses all of his Marauders, he trades really well. The Vikings land here.
The Vikings start carrying again. They land and take down every single tank. 50 supply for MarineKing.
And the drop in the main.
130 for YoDa.
He's making a command center of MarineKing's main base. He says, get out.
Expect GG in 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's what we'll see. Takes out now the add-ons here. He's killing the SCVs. And I don't see MarineKing working his way back into this one.
YoDa is building command centers in his main base. He has the drop there, and he is really telling MarineKing, listen, buddy, you played a great game, you played a great map too, but this is my codex spot. It belongs to me, and you are not going to take it.
Well, I wish he hadn't made that command center, because I feel that's going to make this game 10 minutes longer, because these two are having a little bit of... I don't know how to describe this. They're trying to beat their chests at each other. I don't know, but MarineKing is now up at the top of the ramp repairing with his SCVs. GG!
That was fast.
That was a lot faster than I expected. I think MarineKing is trying to make himself known for this or something.
Congratulations to YoDa.
Yeah, game's well won, and now he's in Codes. MarineKing will find himself in the up and downs.
MarineKing finds himself in the up and downs. I actually feel that in the up and downs, he will definitely show us his strength. I actually feel that in an environment where he cannot really be prepared for, he's much stronger. I think he's one of those players that I expect to come through the up and downs. It's a little bit tough to say because you never know about the groups, but MarineKing is definitely one of the favorites to take another spot in Codes through the up and downs. But today, YoDa in the Terran versus Terran, he takes the series.
That was a really cool series. I actually really enjoyed watching Mech versus Bio, especially on that last map.
That was pretty cool.
Just the positioning of the two players, how MarineKing would take the fragmented army of YoDa and take it apart, but then have to deal with the multi-prong harassment. Even with the sensor tower, he had an army that was too small. With Mech, you always want to have the bigger army that's all together and fortified, but YoDa's multitasking was, I feel, just a little bit too good.
Yeah, definitely was today. And he found the answer, he found an opening, he took it, and then MarineKing lost 2 bases within 30 seconds, which was just too much for him to handle. From Terran versus Terran, we're going to a Zerg versus Zerg. Hyun is playing against Sniper. It's going to be the last game of the day. And we will see if Sniper can once again defeat Hyun as he did in the finals of the last GSL season, or if this time Hyun comes out the victor. We're going to find out in 5 minutes. We're jumping into a quick break, and when we are back, we have a ZVZ here at the GSL Korea with Color Move.